Good afternoon, televiewers of Divine Mercy Radio Television, and welcome to another program, another interesting session, another interesting edition of your weekly and regular program of Divine Mercy Radio Television, known as Vocations Corner. This is the period where dioceses, with the aid of diocesan vocation directors alongside their bishops, are organizing vocation camps, which is an activity meant to bring young people together such that they are aided to discern their vocation and to make right choices in life with regard to decisions in serving God. And so that is why the Diocese of BAMBUI actually witnessed the commencement of this year's vocation camp beginning yesterday, Sunday the 6th of July 2025 at Bishop Rogan Minor Seminary in BAMBUI. What is happening is that at this point in time, we have different religious congregations with representatives coming from north, south, east, and west to talk about their religious groups, their religious congregations, and what is their charism, what they offer, their purpose, and their way of life, disclosed to these young men who actually make a choice without being coerced, to make a choice in order to embrace one of this way of life, in order to serve God and to be satisfied and to feel happy serving God in this life. It is on this count that we actually had to lay hands on some of those who came from very far distance to actually talk about themselves. And we are talking about the Dominican nuns who are based in BAMBUI, the northwest region of Cameroon. And we know nuns are living a meditative and contemplative way of life, life of prayer, and they are not just seen commonly interacting or moving in the society. They are called to live the contemplative way of life. And so we have some religious nuns who actually came all the way from BAMBUI, from the Dominican monastery, to talk about the Dominican nuns and the Dominican order. So we are blessed to have two of them this afternoon for the program Vocations Corner. So we begin. By my right is Sister Jacqueline Joseph. Good afternoon to you, sister.
Good afternoon, Father.
And how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's a pleasure having you here.
It's my pleasure too.
I'm sure it's your first time surfacing over Divine Mercy Radio Television.
Very correct, Father.
We are pleased to have you here.
At least we watch it from time to time in the monastery.
Okay.
And we enjoy every program.
Okay. It's a pleasure. Sister Jacqueline Joseph testifies watching Divine Mercy Radio Television every now in the monastery. And by my left is Sister Stephanie Mambo. Good afternoon to you, sister.
Good afternoon, Father.
And how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
I'm sure it's your first time equally surfacing here.
Yes, Father, it's actually my first time. But like my sister earlier said, we always follow this channel in the monastery, especially during our recreations. DMR TV and EWTN are the most important channels that helps us in the monastery because we want to be updated. Though we are nuns, it helps us to know what is happening and give us more insight on what to pray for about the world and the church in which we are serving.
Thank you so much, Sister Stephanie Mambo. So we are highly guested today with Dominican nuns from the Dominican monastery in BAMBUI. They have come a long way to answer present here. So, sister, what is your purpose? What is your principal points? Living all the way from BAMBUI to be here in Boya, this period of time, what is your goal of achievement? What do you actually seek?
Father, we have come out sent by the community for the vocation camps that are going on around our ecclesiastical province. Yes, for us, we are fortunate that two of us are sent here, and after this week we'll be going to Manfe, the Diocese of Manfe.
The Diocese of Manfe,
yes,
the one family Diocese of Manfe.
Yes, Father. So we are out to share with the general public because many people will discover that even those in BAMBUI itself, they don't know that we are there. So we have come to talk about the Dominican monastic life, the joyous and broad spectrum of St. Dominic, or the garden of St. Dominic. So we are happy that the community has sent us to share, and we are also happy to belong in this order and in this community of Bambui, because there are many different communities that would have chosen to go there, but we felt that the Lord has called us to serve Him in the monastery of Saint Dominic in Bambui.
All right, that's beautiful. So, in effect, you are out to talk about the Dominican nuns and the Dominican monastic life, the broad and joyous garden of Saint Dominic.
Yes.
So, sister, somebody hearing this for the first time, myself, I'm very happy seeing you people. I know that, yes, it's not easy to have the Dominican monasteries, nuns just leave the monastery as such. So, having you, it means you are actually out for business. And we are very privileged that the monastery and the authorities that be did choose you to represent them and equally to talk about, the way of life out here. So what really made you to be chosen? What criteria did you meet to be chosen amidst the many amongst those in the Dominican monastic life, the broad and joyous garden of Saint Dominic? So what gives you a place of preference to be chosen over others to come and carry out this great duty?
Father, nothing special really, but also because we are the newest brides in the community, so the sisters felt that it's good we should share that joy we have received with others, especially with the young people of today, to tell them that monastic life is possible. Yes, despite the noisy world in which we are living in, people like us also can answer that call. Yes, it's not only about old people, because many people think that monastic life is for maybe after you have
lived your life and enjoyed, as they say, you may retire maybe from the 70s or so. Then after living your life in the world, you just decide now to go to the monastery. So it's not like that actually.
It's good to begin from the very start, Father.
Yes.
Yes, if you get the call, it's good to answer it, and when you answer it young, you enjoy it.
You enjoy it.
Yes, you are able to sustain till
the end,
till death. You are, yes, because there's a kind of rhythm that if you don't start at least at a very early age, you'll not be able, they'll be dragging you as if you are a horse.
Yeah, as though they're pulling you, they're forcing you, which is not good. To be forced is not good to be forced. All right, let's come to Sister Stephanie Mambu. Now, Sister Jacqueline Joseph did mention that two of you are actually the newest bride in the community. By hearing such, perhaps somebody may not understand what it means to be the newest bride in the community. So what do you mean by, terming yourself the newest bride in the community?
That actually means that we just made our first profession a kind of commitment, because it's not a final commitment as such. It's like it's the first stage to tell us that we are gradually getting fully into the order. Though we have not, since we still have a lot to learn about the order and about our community. But this is also helping us to know that the community have seen that we are struggling to live the life, and they are seeing the possibility that we can live the Dominican life. So they have given us this opportunity also to continue to stay with them and see whether at the end this is where we are going to remain as Dominicans and be part of the order.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sister Stephanie, for doing that clarification regarding to the newest bride. They just received their temporal profession. They have just been temporarily professed into the Dominican order. And what you have noticed is that, dear TV friend, to see these sisters, it's not just common seeing them around like we have the other sisters. We have sisters who are working with us in the parishes, in the communities, like the St. Therese sisters, the tertiary sisters of St. Francis. We have the St. Anne sisters. We have the Capuchin sisters, and many of them. But these are sisters who rarely come out and who rarely interact in the contemporary society, which means they are confined. They live a contemplative way of life, and meditatively. They have a particular locus where they carry out all the activities. And what you have noticed is that if one of them belongs to perhaps a biological family, once she leaves, she has left for good. She has left for good. And so we are privileged to have them on board here over the Divine Mercy Radio Television. Reason being that they actually left upon being assigned by the authorities that be in the monastery, Dominican monastery there in Bambui, coming all the way from the northwest region of Cameroon to talk about this order and to promote vocations into this order. whereby so many people are not forced, they are not coerced, but people willfully, deliberately, and joyously decide to join them, as Sister Jacqueline Joseph noted, that one who is forced definitely will not enjoy the way of life. But if you give it with your free will, you enjoy it better. Now, let us get more about the Dominican sisters. Sister Jacqueline Joseph, once again, it's a pleasure having you. So, where are you people actually located? Is it only in the Dominican monastery there in Bambui, or there are other places where you are located in the country? And tell us more about your location. Where are you?
Father, for like our monastery, the foundation, let me begin with the foundation. We were founded by the sisters from Mariada, but the order, Dominican order, was founded by Saint Dominic. Many people know Saint Dominic about the rosary.
Yeah.
They don't know that Saint Dominic founded sisters, founded friars, brothers, preachers.
Yes, order of preachers.
Yes. So Saint Dominic was born in the year 1170 in a town called Calorega in Spain, the diocese of Osma. Dominic was born in the 12th century. When we say 1170, that is the 12th century. His mother was Jane of Aza and his father was Felix the Guzman. Dominic came from a noble family. So Dominic founded us in 1206 as a result of the fact that when Dominic was preaching, he came in contact with heresy. There were many heresies in the church, but this particular one, the Albigensian heresy.
Yes.
When you talk of Abi,
yes,
that is the place, and Albigensian now the people. The heresy itself, yes, Albigensian is the heresy, and the place is Abi. So when Dominic came in contact with the Albigensian heresy, he decided after the conversion of 9 women, since during that time also the Albigensians were like rich people, they will educate you so that you should it's like you give me money and I work for you.
Yeah.
Yes. So if these poor women, their families, or poor girls, let me call it, their families could not afford their education. So after the conversion, Dominic decided that if he will allow them to go back to the family, they will become victims to these Albigensians. Yes, they will become victims to the Albigensians. So he decided to look for a house, put them there, or let me call it a monastery, because eventually that is how we started. Put these girls there, became their father and their founder, struggled to teach them, and they made their first vows in the hands of Saint Dominic. So that is our origin in 1206. But our monastery came as a result of the sisters from Mariada, the Holy Rosary sisters from Mariada, with the help of Bishop Peters, Jus Peters. Yes, he's the one who invited the sisters from Mariada, because that time, the time of evangelization, that Europe should come and evangelize Africa, the sisters came in 1965. They came. The first convent was in Bafmeng. When the sisters came to Bafmeng, they stayed there for close to 12 years. But looking at Bafmeng at that time, there was problem of bad roads. They could not afford health facilities. So after some time, with the help of late Cardinal Tumi, the sisters acquired the land that we are now in Bambui. So, but as they were building while in Bafmeng, they were also preparing themselves, and suddenly one day, without the people knowing it, because they would have stopped them, since they really wanted them to be with them, the sisters left and we settled in Bambui. That is around 1975. Yes, 75. Then now we came to Bambui. So from there now we have been in this monastery, and only after 50 years, more than 50 years, let me say 50 years plus, we have gone for a new foundation in Uganda.
In Uganda?
Yes, Father.
Oh, that's deep and elaborate history. Yes. Deep and elaborate history with regard to the foundation, the coming into existence of the Dominican nuns in Cameroon. Upon the invitation from Bishop Jules Peters, one of the then bishops in the Diocese of BAMBUI, who actually invited the Dominican nuns all the way to come from, I'm sure, Colorado in Spain.
No, these sisters, the one who founded our monastery in BAMBUI, from Maria, the Netherlands, Holland.
Okay.
Yes, Father.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that deep history. Okay. And I want to think that we are blessed to have you here. Now, so does it mean that implicitly the Dominican nuns are found in the whole of Cameroon only at BAMBUI in the northwest region, or they are found in other places? Any insights with regard to this, Sister Stephanie Mambo?
No, Father. We are not found. We are not only in BAMBUI. When it comes to monastic life, there is what is called autonomy. That means that.
Yes.
That means that the monastery is now on its own. It's like us now, we now have a foundation in Uganda. We are now like the mothers of that monastery. It means that when it comes to the finances and to the decision making of that monastery, it comes from BAMBUI. See, after a number of years, when we now see that Uganda now have sisters,
yes,
a quite number of sisters who can now take over the monastery, then now they become on their own,
yes,
as a monastery. And then those sisters who have gone for foundation, if they decide to remain in Uganda, then documents have to be made. So that means that if at the end they die, they will be buried in Uganda. Because that is the monastery they have chosen to settle there.
Okay.
But for us, or those who will choose, at the end, when they have given us the autonomy, if you decide that you want to come back to BAMBUI, then you are free to come back to BAMBUI, because that was your original monastery. So that is what is called autonomy. It means that the monastery now stands on its own to make its decisions. So for us in Cameroon, we are in 3 places, but for us we are from BAMBUI, and if we are going maybe to Bafoussam, because we have the Tumi sisters in Bafoussam, and we have Dominican sisters in Douala. But if we are going there, it's either for studies, or it's either for a meeting, or for other occasions that calls our attention to be there. But our original monastery is BAMBUI. So we cannot be transferred from one monastery, or it cannot be appointed like how it is done with active congregations from one monastery to another. Where you enter is where you're going to remain, unless something comes up, maybe regarding your health situation, or something that the monastery cannot help you or sustain you, and they think that another monastery can be of assistance to you. So you are being transferred to the monastery, meaning you are no more part of BAMBUI.
All right, please, just a little clarification. Now, you have mentioned 3 places in Cameroon where we have the Dominican nuns. You mentioned BAMBUI, where you people are based. You mentioned Bafoussam, and you mentioned Douala. Now, you noted that you can be in Bafoussam as a result of studies, or Douala because of one thing or another. Does it mean that those who are in these other places, apart from BAMBUI, are not living as contemplatives? Maybe they are living maybe for studies, so they interact with the world, or they are equally confined as people are confined in the monastery there at BAMBUI?
Those who are living in Bafoussam, like the Tumi sisters, and those who are in Douala, they live the same kind of life we are living. They are Dominican nuns. They belong to the Dominican order. But now we have separate autonomy. It means that each monastery stands on its own to make their decisions. It's like we don't come together to make decisions or to deliberate on anything, but we can come as a order. But as a monastery, concerning the running of the affairs of the monastery, each monastery stands on its own. Another monastery cannot take decision for the other.
So why they taking of different names if you all are Dominican nuns? Why they taking of different names like Tumi sisters? Why should they decide to call themselves the Tumi sisters or another name, whereas you people are all Dominican nuns?
Father, it's because that is why we are Dominican nuns. We are a monastery of Saint Dominic, BAMBUI. they have their own the monastery. Tumi
Where
is
did
found
you-
in Bafusam. Tumi.
Okay, Tumi.
Yes, Tumi in Bafusam.
Okay.
Yes, and Douala is just the monastery called in that place.
Okay.
Yes, it's not that
They take
are-
another name
yes,
or so.
no.
Okay, they identify themselves
Yes.
with the place too, but they are
Yes,
all Dominican.
They are all
nuns.
Dominican nuns.
All right, thank you. Beautiful for that clarification. Dear TV friend, if you are just joining us, you are onto the program Vocations Corner over the Divine Mercy Radio Television. And today we are considering the Dominican nuns generally, and precisely those who are found in BAMBUI. They are out for a promotion of their religious congregation, the Dominican nuns, especially with the ongoing Vocations Camp 2025 of the Diocese of Aboya, ongoing at Bishop Rogan Minor Seminary. Want to thank them so far for allotting us their time to answer here present so that we get to know more about the Dominican nuns. Now, let us get to know much about your purpose. Regarding to your purpose, what is the purpose, charism, way of life of the Dominican sisters?
Father Dominic, our holy patriarch, I love Saint Dominic so much. When I talk about him, I talk with a lot of passion.
Oh, in our contemporary society, saying so. I mean, some young boy or girl in our society will say, "Oh, wonderful, loving your founder with so much passion and so on." Well, the order of preachers, Saint Dominic. Yes, let's get more.
I love Saint Dominic. So Dominic really thought it wise, because fighting the Abidjans was not easy for him. So when he succeeded to convert these women and gave them a monastery, Dominic decided that their purpose would be to seek the face of God on behalf of the preachers. First, the friar preachers, that is the Dominican brothers. And second, all other preachers, because the work of preaching is not our own, so that the words that will come out from their mouth will bear abundant fruit. That is the first purpose why Dominic founded the nuns. Then our second purpose, or as I continue, is apart from seeking the face of God, is also to lead the contemplative life of union with God through prayer. You live a life of silence, you live a life of solitude, a life of sacrifice. There's a lot of sacrifice in the monastery. You first begin from home, because if you cannot really be able to do something for somebody, you will not do it even in the monastery. So that sacrifice is a daily sacrifice of the duty they will give you, you'll be entrusted with, of the burdens also, not only of yourself but also of the sisters and also the community when you become part of it. All these for the salvation of souls. So this is centered, our life as Dominican nuns is centered around the solemn celebration of the Mass. That one is constant, and I really appreciate it, because I ask myself, really every day it's as if I am in the front of a stream where I should not be thirsty again. So the daily celebration of the Mass, the liturgy of the hours, that is the prayer of the church. The church has entrusted us this duty. We pray 7 times a day, the liturgy of the hours. Apart from private prayers and other prayers, we do this 7 times a day. We stand in the name of the church, for the church and with the church. It is a duty, and we hold it with trembling hands. And also we have adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. That is really our purpose, and we try to fulfill it every day. Thank you, Father.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sister Jacqueline Joseph, for bringing to us highlights about your purpose. Talking about liturgical celebration of the hours with reverence, adoration of the Blessed Sacrament, the most holy body and blood of Christ, daily celebration of Mass, which brings you so close in terms of proximity, and you feel like when these moments are granted you, it's as though you are already sharing in the beatific vision in the presence of Christ. That is awesome and beautiful. So very briefly, we shall take a brief look at the admission criteria. What does it take to belong or to be admitted into the Dominican monastery, perhaps to commence initial formation to become like you? I'm sure Sister Stephanie Mambo will clarify us on that. Then when we come back after this clarification, we shall have some musical interlude, our break. So let us get some of the admission requirements. Sister Stephanie, what does it take to belong to the Dominican nuns? Can a young girl just arise from the quarters and march straight into the monastery and say, I have found the place of joy, here I must belong, without maybe any academic qualification? Also, do you admit, or there is some academic qualification? What does it take? What are the requirements?
No, Father. A young girl from the quarters cannot just wake up and come to the Dominican monastery, because like it is said, we are order of preachers, and with our order, study is very important. So if a young girl is just leaving the street that does not know how to read and does not know how to write, if you come to the Dominican order, because now you will belong to the order, then it will be it will be difficult for you. So for the Dominican non-BAMBUI, we don't complicate too much. If you have your advanced level, you're free to join us. So if you are 16 and above and you have advanced level, the sisters can take you in to begin formation.
Okay, 16 years of age and above, and you're in possession of advanced level. So what about those who perhaps are in possession of maybe a master's degree in tertiary studies of education and maybe a PhD, and they feel like, there's this young girl who already has a doctorate degree, and she feels like, oh, this my place of joy is not to be in the world. I feel like going to the monastery. And maybe that young girl watching you now in possession of a PhD, watching you speak, will admire becoming like Sister Jacqueline Joseph, with adoration of the Blessed Sacrament, prayer, the liturgy of the hours. So is she totally deprived, or is she disqualified from being admitted, or what are the criteria?
Father, it's from advanced level. That means after advanced level, if you want to go to university, acquire PhD, there's no problem. From advanced level, you can come. So advanced level, because for us, we are graduates.
Oh, you graduates?
Yes, we are graduates. And we still have other sisters. So it's not as if with PhD you cannot be a nun. Instead, you are going to understand the things so well, so beautiful, that the sisters will not really have to burden themselves so much. So we'll be really grateful if you can even further the study. With the world of today, you really need to have a big head. Yes, you need to have a big head so that you can understand not just physical things, but even spiritual things. Look at St. Thomas Aquinas. Look at Catherine of Siena. Catherine of Siena was not educated, but Jesus taught her how to read. But look at Thomas. Look at many, Albert. Look, those are Dominicans. So they were great people, because Dominicans have influenced the church with preaching, not because they are illiterate, but they're educated, intelligent, big head, handsome, beautiful. What have you not?
Yeah.
So that is it.
All right, thank you so much. So, dear TV friend, when sister talks of you are supposed to be someone of a big head, it doesn't mean the physical big head like physical big head. You're supposed to be an intellectual giant. You are supposed to be a rational somebody who thinks critically, analyzes, and somebody who is creative. So, the Dominicans actually were known for combating the Albigensian heresy, equally known as Catharism, which was a Christian dualistic movement that emerged sometime back in the past, particularly in the region of Albi during the 12th and 13th centuries. And the key aspects of the Albigensian heresy actually included the rejection of the sacraments. They rejected the sacraments, and that is why sister will say now the Dominican nuns actually take time in celebrating the sacraments, the liturgy of the hour, the Holy Mass, and so on. But these heretics actually rejected the sacraments, and they had a dualistic conception. The Cathars believed in a strict dualistic being between good and evil, spirit and matter, and with the material world being created by an evil God and the spiritual realm by a good God. That was a dualism which was combated against by those who actually stood against the Abishesians, who propagated the Abishesian heresy, and many others. So generally, these are the Dominican nuns, and they are well read, they are learned, like you heard for yourself. Sisters are all graduates, yet they decided to choose this way of life. Maybe when we come back, we are going to get more about their personal experiences and their vocational experiences, what definitely prompted them. I know they are very willing to tell us more, so that lives may equally be touched. And as they said, ad maiorem gloria Dei, for the glory and honor of God. That is the motivating factor behind their being. We shall take a short musical interlude, after which we shall be back in a bit.
From early in the morning till late at night, all that I need is you. And my only hope is you. My only hope, Jesus, is my only hope. My hope is you, Lord. From early in the morning till late at night, my only hope is you. And my only peace is you. My only peace is you. My only peace. Yes, my peace is you, Lord. From early in the morning till late at night, my only peace is you. And my only joy is you. My only joy, Jesus, my only joy. Yes, my joy is you, Lord. From early in the morning till late at night, my only joy is you. It's all that I need. All that I need. All that I need. Jesus, all that I need. All I need is you, Lord. From early in the morning till late at night, all that I need is you. And my only hope is you. My only hope, Jesus, my only hope. Yes, my hope is you, Lord. From early in the morning till late at night, my only hope is you. From early in the morning till late at night, my only hope is you. From early in the morning till late at night, all that I need is you. And my only hope is you. My only hope, Jesus, my only hope. My hope is you, Lord. From early in the morning till late at night, my only hope is you. And my only peace is you. My only peace, Jesus, my only peace. Yes, my peace is you, Lord. From early in the morning till late at night, my only peace is you. And my only joy is you. My only joy, Jesus, my only joy. Yes, my joy is you, Lord. From early in the morning.
My only joy, my only peace is in you, from early in the morning till late at night. My only joy, my only peace, my only hope is in you. That is it with the Dominican nuns coming all the way from the Dominican monastery in BAMBUI, and they are here present live. A very, very rare situation and offer which has been granted us. We are so privileged to have you over Divine Mercy Radio Television. We shall say this 1,000 times without getting tired, that we are privileged, and we thank the authorities that be for granting you this opportunity to come on board. Now, talking about the Dominican nuns, since it's ongoing sensitization about the Dominican monastery, could we get a little bit about your daily schedule? How is life in the monastery? Maybe somebody who is interested, a girl who is interested out there, may want to know what occupies you from the rising of the sun right down to its setting. What keeps you going? So, Sister Stephanie Mambo, please, could you tell us about your daily schedule?
Well, Father, our daily schedule is a very beautiful one.
Oh.
Though you can be tempted, because since the thing is like a routine with the passing of time and years, you see that there's a lot of temptation, but it's a beautiful one, and that's why you have to be very disciplined. For us, from Monday to Saturdays, we rise up at 4:30 a.m. After which we take our bath, so by 10 to 5 a.m. we should be in the chapel, because we begin prayer, that's the office of reading, at 5 minutes to 5.
Yes.
Yeah, that's 5:55 we start the prayers. After that, by 5:30 we should be done with office of reading, so we have meditation from 5:30 to 6 o'clock. At 6 a.m. we begin with the Angelus. And then we after the Angelus we continue with morning prayer. When we finish with morning prayer, we now have Mass. That is from 6:30 to when the father, because at times there are some fathers who preach a bit long. After that, we have 15 minutes of thanksgiving to thank God for the day that we are beginning. After that, we pray the prayer before noon. After the prayer before noon, then also as still in formation, we go for our own prayers that we have in the novitiate. But for the other sisters, that is when they have time also to study, to have their own personal study. After our prayers, then we have breakfast. Breakfast normally used to be from 8 to 8:30. After that, because in our monastery we have shared our groups into 3 in terms of washing up. So those who are responsible for washing up now will take 30 minutes to wash up. That's from 8:30 to 9 a.m. After 9 a.m. then we go to our various workplaces, because despite the fact that we are praying, we also work to sustain this life which we have taken. Because we need clothing, we need shelter, we have bills to pay. So it's only about prayer, and we also have to eat, which is very important for us to pray very well for those who need our prayers. So we go from 9 a.m. to 11:45, you are at your workplace, because at 11:45, the person who is responsible for the bell rings the bell to inform the sisters to leave their workplaces and go to prepare for midday prayer. And the person still rings again at 11:55, because at 12 noon we begin with the Angelus. After which, since our order is so much dedicated to the Holy Rosary, and Mother Mary is so precious to us, for us the Dominican, and for my monastery in BAMBUI, we always pray the Rosary after the Angelus. After the Rosary, then we take the midday prayer. So most often we finish the prayer at 1:45. From there we move, because we always pray the Te Deum. So we process to the refectory where we have our lunch. After the lunch, those who are responsible for washing up, so by 1:30 we should be finished with lunch, and then those who are responsible for washing up goes to wash up, and they also have time. So from 1:30 to 2:30 is when we have our time to siest. That within that 1 hour you have a time to siest, you have a time for spiritual reading, and you have a time also for your own personal prayers. So that is when they give you that time. So at 2:30 we go now for afternoon prayers. After afternoon prayers, which finishes by 3, then we go to our workplaces. We go there, we work till 4:45. We leave our workplaces to go and freshen up and prepare, because by 5 p.m. we should all be in the chapel for meditation. So meditation begins from 5 to 5:30 p.m. After that, we have adoration from 5:30 to 6 p.m. After which we have our evening prayer. After the evening prayer, and then we move for supper. So at 6:30 we should be in the refectory for supper. Those who are responsible again for washing up takes their responsibility and they wash. So by 7 o'clock we now have recreation. 7:30, sorry, because those who we finish supper at 7, and those who are responsible takes now they're washing up from 7 to 7:30 so that they'll have enough time. And then from 7:30 to 8:30 is the only time as a nun that you have to talk. Because during that time, during the whole day as you're working, if there's anything necessary that you have to say, and then you have to say it in a subdued voice. So when we are working in our workplaces or in the chapel, it's a moment of silence because while you are working, you're also praying. So we have 7:30 to 8:30 for recreation. We come as a community, we recreate, we share, we know more about ourselves. By 8:30, then we move to the chapel to pray the compline. And that after which, then we have the moment of great, we call it great silence, because once you leave the chapel, you should not talk to anybody till the next day. And if you are to talk to anybody till the next day, that should be after Mass. So that's how our program goes daily, except on Sundays, which we will wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. But that is how the program flows.
What an elaborate program there. That is the horarium of the Dominican monastery of the Dominican nuns at the BAMBUI in the northwest region of our country, Cameroon. That is how their day unfolds daily, and it's a daily routine. It's called a horarium, and that is how it happens. You realize that most of the period is dedicated for prayer, and even during work, as they work physically, they equally pray. Laborare est orare. To work is to pray. And what you have noticed is the fact that these Dominican nuns, they work and they are gifted with different skills. Some are in the clothing department, whereas some are perhaps in the vestment department. Let me put it that way. And I would like to say this particular sutan I'm putting on was actually sewn there at the Dominican monastery 3 years ago. 3 years ago, and that is their work. They produce this, the chasubles used by priests and other vestments, cassocks, soutanes, surplices, and you name a whole lot. They work and they pray. They work in the farms as well. I'm sure you did not mention that, but you people work. I know you have massive lands for farming.
Candles.
Yes,
Candles.
and they are very good in that. That is it with life in the Dominican monastery. But one thing I noted, sister, is that one cannot survive as a talkative. If you are a talkative, you cannot survive there. And if you don't like prayers, you cannot survive there. Because all the times you are talking of prayer this, hour of prayer this, hour of prayer this, hour of great silence this, we have to be silent. So those who think that they are more prone to talk in a bit, is it a disqualification to them? Are you indirectly telling them that that is not their place to be, or they can still come?
I don't think so, Father, because like they say, that is why we have formation, because it's there to help you to know the life more and to actually become acquainted and to become you start living the life the way it is. That's why we have formation. It's because somebody like me, I'm a very social person. I noise, but so saying that I am in the monastery is a call. It's not like there's a particular, if you're a talkative, if you come there, they'll form you. Yes. And if you take the formation, then you become different and you really see yourself that you'll be living the life.
Wonderful and beautiful. Now let us come. That was Sister Stephanie Mambo, who actually gave elaborate explanation with regard to the daily horarium and how life unfolds in the monastery. This is, of course, Vocation Camp Explicit, number 1 of priority. taking place live over the Divine Mercy Radio Television with sensitization of the Dominican nuns at the Dominican monastery in BAMBUI. That was Sister Stephanie Mambo giving us in-depth explanation on how their day unfolds with lots of prayer, lots of work, and definitely some brief moments of socialization and talking about contemporary happenings. And we shall be taking you to Sister Jacqueline Joseph, who will be telling us more on how the Dominicans have actually influenced the church, and if possible, how they're influencing the church nowadays. Yes, sister.
Thank you, Father. So, Father, this great order, the Dominican order, looking at St. Dominic, how he started, we can say we have influenced the church in the aspect of preaching. Yes, preaching for the salvation of souls, not just preaching for itself, but as a means to gain souls for Christ. So Dominic, when you look at our foundation, when Dominic went to ask for permission to found the order of preachers, they asked Dominic because at that time, only bishops were allowed to preach. Yes, if you look at the history of the church, only bishops, because priests at that time, permit me to say, they were not really formed, or they were not so serious. You see priests go on, as we read the life of St. Dominic, they were allowed to go abroad, but Dominic never went abroad. Being an Augustinian canon at that time, because after becoming a priest at the age of 24, Dominic joined his bishop, Diego, the Diocese of Osma. Dominic stayed there as a canon regular for 10 years under the rule of St. Augustine. So after that is when Dominic got now the inspiration after visiting Albi, encountering the Albigensian heresy. Dominic started this preaching and saw that an order of preacher was really needed. So Dominic went and asked for permission for this foundation. And they asked Dominic, at that time it was the Pope Innocent, that will it be an order for bishops? Dominic said no, it's not an order for bishops. There will be priests. They said, what, priest? Dominic said, yes, I will form them. They will learn theology, scripture, morals. They will be educated so that they can also meet the demands and the challenges of the world that he is preparing them for. So it was not easily accepted, because also the bishops were not really happy, because their authority will be usurped in a kind of, yes, people coming to take over preaching. Is it possible? It was not easily accepted, but Dominic gave it time. And when Dominic went the other time, after all the discussion, they accepted. They said that it makes sense. If these young men will be educated in all these fields, then they'll be able to really stand the times. So that is how our foundation came about. It was approved eventually by Honorius. So he approved it and gave now the powers for these friar preachers to really preach, to take up the work of preaching. So if you look at the Dominicans, we have influenced the church in the fact that priests can now preach. Before, bishops were the one preaching. And also look at people like Thomas Aquinas. Seminarians can tell you more about Thomas. Let me just say something. I used to hear of Essence. Thomas, that is his theology. Yes. So look at Thomas Aquinas. Look at Albert the Great. We have great Dominicans who have really influenced the church. And when I read the life of the brethren, I feel so humbled and thankful to God for having brought me into this order. So also into the church, because the church is really a great one, because these people gave their life and gave everything that they have. Even Dominic, our father, look at St. Dominic himself with the rosary. So that is how the Dominicans have influenced the church. And when you look at Pope Pius V, But Pius V refused to remove his habit as a Dominican, because the Pope at that time, they were wearing red. So Pius V, with white as a Dominican, stood his ground, and now the Pope, since he did not remove the habit, the Pope now, they had to take up that white for the Pope. So that is what I can say with so much gratitude. But there's so much that Dominicans have done. I am a proud and I'm a thankful one.
You are a proud and a thankful Dominican. Oh, that's beautiful to hear. That's beautiful to hear and to know, Sister Jacqueline Joseph. A proud and a thankful Dominican and a happy Dominican.
Dominic was a joyful friar.
Yes.
A very joyful friar.
Oh, yeah. That's wonderful. Dear TV friends, it's as though we shouldn't let the sisters off the hook. We shouldn't let them go, because there's a lot to talk about the Dominican nuns. But before we are gradually getting to the end of the program, just a few minutes left, dear sisters, perhaps I would like you to whet the appetite of your televiewers to actually tell them a bit about your vocation history. I mean, that striking moment, what really motivated you, being graduates and people who are of the scholarly world, what motivated you that you had to say, oh, this is high time for me to join the Dominican monastery, the Dominican nuns, and to give up every other thing in life? So let me begin with Sister Stephanie Mambo. Please, what is that striking moment in your life which could be very helpful too? I know the history could be long, like a book. Yes, we could write a book concerning your vocation history this far. But what is that striking moment that made you to say, oh, it is high time, I'm going to live as a Dominican now?
Prayer and silence. That is what has really helped me. In the beginning, because like I always tell people, I am from a Presbyterian background.
You see, that's something interesting again.
So when I felt the call, and then being a Presbyterian, it was very difficult. But when I became a Catholic as such, because at the beginning it was a struggle with my family, especially my grandmother. She refused giving my baptism card and complicating things the more. But since I had that conviction and I knew that God was calling me to be a sister, though at that moment I knew nothing about maybe the Catholic Church, maybe sisters as such, but at least I was convinced that God was calling me. But even when I became a Catholic and I was searching for where God is calling me, all the congregations I went to, what my question was, how is their prayer? Yeah, that was what I was interested in. I went to many communities and they said they are semi-contemplative. I'll ask, do you pray more? And if they say they don't pray more, then my interest just dies. So what was important for me was their prayer and silence. Those are my best moments. I could spend more time in the chapel just being myself. And I think that they say a religious, if you see a religious who start having crisis, then look at the prayer life of that person. So I think that my prayer life is helping me to continue the journey and to really live as a Dominican nun and as in the Dominican order.
Thank you so much, Sister Stephanie Mambo. That was just a tip of an iceberg, actually, to tell you about God's power working in us, doing infinitely much more than we can ever ask or imagine. Ephesians chapter 3 verse 21. With Sister Stephanie Mambo of Presbyterian background, finally became a Catholic and did not just become a laity, but did not just end at the level of just being baptized as a Catholic, but went in to live the contemplative and meditative way of life of constant prayer by becoming a Dominican nun. That is how God works in ways that we cannot even understand. Like I said, the history could be so long and profound, but because of time constraint, gradually, hopefully, by God's grace, if God affords us the opportunity and life, we have you again on our platform if the opportunity presents itself. I hope you will not refuse, sister, if you call.
If the community permits me to, because in our way of life, you don't just do things on your own. The community has to grant you permission. So if DMRTV invites me and the community says no, taking the vow of obedience, which is very important in the Dominican order, then I will have to say no.
We shall only pray to the Holy Spirit that the authorities that day should say yes, so that you will equally have to say yes. So thank you so much. At this point in time, let us get that striking moment to you, Sister Jacqueline Joseph. What was that striking moment that made you to say, yes, this is it. I am going in for the sisterhood in the Dominican order as a Dominican nun.
Thank you, Father, for the opportunity. For me, actually, it was not easy. Growing up as a girl, attending vocations camps, I've never thought of monastic life. I admire nuns. I just like to see them. I have friends in the Carmelite monastery. At times I go to visit, but I always tell my friend, I said, it's good you'll be here, but I would like to be in the active life. I'll come and be seeing you. I never thought, I did not know that one day I'll be here. So eventually, when I got the call to become a nun, it was not easy. After my university studies, when I decided that I want to come in, I had crisis, because graduating with degree in management, my brother-in-law offered me a job as an accountant.
A firm.
Yes, so he said he called that he wants to train me software accounting, that 1.5 million in dollar. I told him, I said that I have a friend, you can train her, she is very good in accounting. She said that, no, I need somebody in the family. I was so disturbed. I called a priest. I said, what should I do? After graduating, I'm getting a job. Now I'm thinking of going to the monastery. Should I take this job for 5 years, then I leave, or what? Will it not be scamming? Because it will be as if I've promised that I'll work and now I am leaving. So he said that, tell your brother-in-law to train his wife. So I had the courage to tell him to train his wife. He said that no, he insisted. But eventually, I left with a heavy heart. I was crying all the way from Boya to Bamenda. So when I got to the monastery, the sisters welcomed me. I stayed. 1 year passed, 2 years. I said, really, that means I can live this monastic life. Is it really true? I did not know that I can really live it. Yes, I did not know I can really live it. So with the help of the sisters also, and I saw that my family, though they never accepted, because it was like, okay, Jackie, you can go and further your studies in America. I said, this is the time. If I don't go now, I might not go again. So I went. And I struggled. It was not easy. To getting up every time prayer, you go like this, you go. It was not easy for me. Yes, it was not easy. I was so thin, so thin. I eat very well, but
But you don't grow. It's not reflective in your body. Yes.
So it was not easy, but with prayers, I continue to pray, and I know the support of so many friends and family also who continue to pray. I lost my mother and my father, and I believe that they also pray for me. Amen. Wherever they are. Amen. So that is what has given me the courage. I believe in the prayers of the sisters also. Yes, I believe in the prayers of the sisters. They challenge you, but they also show you the way, at least to move forward. Because monastic life, if you don't take it by the hand, you will lose it. Yes, you will lose it if you don't take it by the hand, because it's very demanding. So they put you in a kind of way that they want to see if you are going to sustain this life till the end, because it's a continuous perseverance. Every vocation needs perseverance, but monastic life needs perseverance, in total perseverance.
Total perseverance.
Yes.
All right.
So thank you, fathers. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Jacqueline Joseph. Again, another very, very in-depth insight reflection on God's power upon the life of Sister Jacqueline Joseph. After graduating and being offered a white-collar job, she decided to turn it down for the sake of Christ, to work in his vineyard and to be happy with him always. Everyone has got a vocation story which is so beautiful, and that brings the beauty of our program Vocations Corner, where we exploit God's call to different individuals and how they react spontaneously towards this God's call. So far, if you're just joining us, you have been onto the program Vocations Corner. We are caught by the web of time already, and in your presence for a highly esteemed guest and those who answered the present today, we had Sister Jacqueline Joseph and Sister Stephanie Mambo. So, Sister, your one last word, very briefly, to the whole world and to those listening to you, and to the young women who may want to keep in touch with you and who may want to live the life as well. How can they contact you? Very briefly.
Okay. You have the Vocation Directress, Monastery of St. Dominic, Bambui, P.O. Box 56, Bamenda, Northwest Province, region of Cameroon, if you want to write. But with the social media, you can get us 677-949572 or 653-539706. Email opinions bam ayawo.co.uk.
All right.
Or you meet any priest or religious, especially priests from Major Seminary Bambui, they will help you very much, because we are just behind the seminary. The fathers who help us with the daily masses, they are from the seminary.
Major Seminary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your last word, Sister, very briefly.
Father, I would like to say that Dominican life, and especially Dominican monastic life, is a beautiful one. I have no regret being there, and I am very happy. And also to wipe away that wrong mentality that many people have, that the monastery is for retirement. The monastery is not for retirement. You will not live your life and then you come now at old age to come to begin, because you have a lot of struggle. So Dominican life is for those whom God has chosen to follow this way of life, to follow St. Dominic, and it is a wonderful life, and it's for young people who want to live their life. It's very good and beautiful. I think that viewers all over the world have seen us, how we are happy.
Very happy.
The sisters are very good also. Greetings to my sisters in Bambui. Hopefully that they are watching us live.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. JTV friend, you can contact them like they mentioned, 677 94 94 9572. There are other contacts, but we'll repeat this one so that you can easily get to them. Again, can take your pen, can jot down the number through your phone, 677 94 94 95. Yes, I'm sure I'm not making a mistake. And 677 94 9572. You can always contact them, and you can get through to them over with the aid of the priest working at St. Thomas Aquinas Major Seminary Bambui, where just beside a stone throw you get the sisters residing there. Or you can get them, you can meet them at the Vocations Camp ongoing in the Bishop Rogan Minor Seminary, and get flyers and details with regard to admission requirements, the lifestyle, the charism, and many others. So far, so good. It has been Vocation Corner over the Divine Mercy Radio Television, sharing the light of hope here at the station. And we had Sisters Jacqueline Joseph and Stephanie Mambo, who are the new bride, the newest bride in the community, who just received their temporary profession. They are temporal professed sisters. Congratulations to you. We keep praying for you, and we urge you to keep praying for us as well. JTV friend, we take another rendezvous next week, same time, same TV station, same program, same, of course, highly esteemed audience. That is you listening to us. And for your host today, I've been Reverend Father Martin Jemuka, urging you to remain glued to more interesting programs about the Divine Mercy Radio Television, sharing the light of hope. Till we meet again, it's a goodbye from our end to yours. Stay blessed.